Hey, I'm Captain Eddie. Welcome to the shop. Got a good tip for you today. Due to the economy, yeah, look it up in your Funkin' Wagnalls. It's the economy. We're drinking less and less soft drinks around the house and drinking more flavored water drinks. One of my favorites is this Crystal Light product. Yeah, and that's not the tip of the day. The tip of the day is this nifty little container that come in. Because I'm always looking for stuff to store parts in that you can seal up. So I go to the store and I buy those twist on and snap on. Alright, found out that this thing makes a perfect storage container. You can see in it. I wrote on what it is. These are binding posts for a tool. In fact, I'm making a tool out of it today, using it for a tool later today. The lid snaps on. If you don't need that much room, these are parts for the DC cutter. Yeah, so I just threw the bandsaw, cut it down a little bit. Look at the raw edge. See, it didn't even clean it up. The lid snaps on, and it stores, and they stack. That's the nifty thing. This is, Glad made a big deal out of this stuff stacking, but this stacks too. So, that's your tip of the day. Oh, by the way, where did I get that from? I did a TV program for a couple of years, and it was all fishing and outdoor stuff. And we did tackle tips every show. So I figured, this is turning tips. Turning. We even got new artwork. Watch. Turning tips. How's that? Huh? It's cool how I do the thing too, huh? All right, now, I'm in a shop today, and I'm cutting out some blanks for Freedom Pen. Somebody sent me a whole bunch of red, white, and blue diamond wood. And I have to drill them and set blanks in them. So I went over to the drill press, and normally in using this center thing, I slip an old blank in the middle, down in there, so when I drill through, I don't hit the aluminum plate on the bottom. And last night I was shopping through Penn State's catalog, and I see that they have a new one of these, and it's got a slide-out piece underneath. Well, Penn State didn't send me a Christmas card last year, so I'm kind of thinking they don't like me anymore. They used to send me cards. So, I got a new one for you today. Let's take the Penn State standard rig and add these parts underneath for a total cost of about 65 cents. And add the bolts, which just cost me $1.45 at the hardware store. So I am now up to $2.10. And I'm going to take my old vise and make it into a new one with a slide-out bottom. You want to see how? Watch. We start with a piece of 1/4-inch hardboard, and it could be hard, 1/4, 5/16, whatever. The thickness doesn't matter. Go ahead and make a template using the base of the old pen vise. That's what you're going to use, the whole thing. I take it over to the bandsaw and the other saw, cut it out, and get it down to the right size. If it's a little bit large, it's okay. A little small, it's okay. Break down the vise. Start by taking out the back 4 screws off the angle, and then you have to turn around and take the knob and lock nut off the front end. And that'll let you pull the vise out of the aluminum cowling that's sitting on the front of the plate. And for that, you have to use some metric Allen wrenches to get it out. These are M6 thread nuts or bolts that are in there, and you'll need some from a hardware store. Now, I'm using my center punch, my pin-loaded center punch, to mark the holes, because it fits down in just right. Now, if you don't have that, put a 3/16 drill bit down there and tap on the drill bit to mark where those holes are. You're going to drill it oversized. I drilled a 7mm hole just to have a little play. Then I'm going to lay it down next to the template and see where my old mark was. That was where I used to drill through and hit the center of the plate. Well, that's going to be the center of my slot. I'm going to go 1 inch to one side and 1 inch to the other, and I used the blade of my square to make that change. And then I'm going to cut that piece out. I'm going to put some reference marks on it so when I put it back together, I know what goes where in case I get a little bit crooked. Now, putting it back together again, you start in reverse. You put the aluminum plate down first, put the screws through, tighten it up, and then you add your vise to the back end of it. And that's pretty much how you get the parts in there. First, I just finished tightening up the bolts, those M6 bolts. I put the knob on, slid it through, put the knob on, put the lock washer between the knob and the lock nut. Then I snugged it down, and now what I have created is the slide like they would like you to buy a new one of for a few more bucks, with the slide out piece that goes under where you drill holes. How's that? Huh? Now this took me 15 minutes tops to cut out. That's even stopping to move the camera and everything else. I used a piece of 1/4-inch tempered board I had around the shop, but I'm going to change that to a piece of 1/2-inch corian that I also have around the shop. No additional expense. It's just, damn, you got corian. You know, so now I want to change to corian, which I like a whole lot better than working with the board. I like a lot of things in corian because it's so stable, and it doesn't take any special tools to cut on a bandsaw, a table saw, a router, everything. So, and it also wears longer. Now, start by pulling this out, drilling holes here, and as you tear it up, slide it through, and then flip it over. Now, while you got that piece of hardboard out, go ahead and use this as a template and cut about 6 or 8 more. Drill a hole in them, put them on a piece of wire, and there's a friendly nail up there on the wall. They'd love to have them. And then when you do tear them up, you just pull a new one down, slip it under, and go to it again. Just trying to make it easy for you. That's what I'm doing, because this is a prelude to making shavings. I'm Captain Eddie. I'm back in the shop. You be safe now. All right. That takes me off Penn State Industries' Christmas card list for another year. Well, I'm running out of people to get cards from. Hold on, don't go away. I'm just going to remind you about the Freedom Pen Projects, www.freedompens.org, and that's where you can get information on what to do with your Freedom Pens. But here I go again. Hey, I didn't get done yet. I want to let you know that's what I did. I went and found me some scrap of corian. An apprentice of mine works for a countertop company, and he gave me some corian, the cutouts from the kitchen counters. And I use them for all kinds of things. Like I told you, very stable, rust resistant, they don't move around a lot. A lot of good points about corian. And I did the same thing. I cut the 2-inch strip out the center, so I have an insert that goes in. I can get corian samples from Corian online in 4-inch by 4-inch pieces, and you can get 2 slides out of each one. Just want to show you that it does work. I did it. It doesn't matter what thickness you use as long as the entire bed is at. So if you got some 3/4-inch plywood you want to use, or some Chinese birch or some Baltic birch or something, if you got that much money, go ahead and use it up. Just get the M6 bolts to the right length. They're about 30 cents a piece at the hardware store. You'll need 6 of them. And make sure you add the length to the longest ones, which are in the back. Okay? So, that's it. Get out in the shop. Oh, the reason I did this? So I could turn more Freedom Pens. So, what's your excuse?